So welcome everybody and happy Tu B'Shvat. We're a little late, but that's okay. These are some classic songs that we all know and love, and it's never a bad time to celebrate the land of Israel and all that it has to offer. So I want to welcome all of you and thank you for being brave enough to be our guinea pigs for our very first silent Shira B'tzibbur. You're all muted, and unfortunately, we're going to keep it that way. We don't have the capability on Zoom to have everybody sing together as much as we'd like to. So you're going to be staying at home, singing out loud to your heart's content, belting out each and every song. We're going to have the words on the screen, but all of us will remain muted throughout the entire process. But don't let that stop you. Sing out loud and have a great time singing along. For those of you who don't know, I'm Josh Schroen. I'm host of Israel Hour Radio. That's a podcast that plays Israeli music, old and new, and we have a great time getting together every Sunday live on the radio. And of course, whenever our podcasts are released, we play some great Israeli music, and I appreciate all of your comments and enthusiasm and helping us build a stronger Israel one song at a time. We've already, this has been a very popular program so far. We hope you all enjoy it. So we've scheduled two more programs coming up on March 12th, exactly a month from today, and April 16th. The topic is still to be determined, but we will let you know. So save those dates and be sure to get ready to join us. If you have fun today, then please mark your calendars and join us on those two dates. And finally, I just want to let you know that if you enjoy our efforts and you appreciate what we do, whether it's the podcast or the website or the social media or this sing-along, then you can please help support us by going to myisraelimusic.com/membership. That's myisraelimusic.com/membership. Your help would be very, very much appreciated. All right. I'm pleased and thrilled to turn this meeting over to Shirley Cohen and her daughter Julie. They're out in the Philadelphia area, Eagles country, on today's Super Bowl Sunday. And Shirley is, anyone who's spent some time in our Israeli music community knows Shirley very, very well. She is a fountain of knowledge about Israel, about Israeli music, about Israeli culture. And she's also a Jewish music teacher. And we've learned so much from Shirley over the past few years since we've really expanded our Israeli music community. So Shirley and Julie are going to be leading us through the songs. I'll be putting up the lyrics on the screen. And like I said, please feel free to use that chat box if you want to ask a question, if you want to make a comment, or just to tell us how much fun you're having. Shirley and Julie, we turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Josh. My daughter Julie is here waiting in the wings. I'd just like to give a brief introduction. We have a nice collection of songs here that are connected with the holiday of Tu B'Shvat, the biblical holiday of celebrating the new year or the birthday of the trees, and also songs that are connected to planting and nature and gardening, because Tu B'Shvat in the modern state of Israel has become kind of a nature holiday, not just celebrating the trees. Um, the first signs of spring start to appear in Israel around late January, early February, coincidentally when Tu B'Shvat starts. And kids get out from school and they go and they plant trees and they hike, and it's a really nice nature time. The first song that we will be singing is called Hashkedia Porachat. The almond tree is blooming. This is the most beloved and the most recognizable Tu B'Shvat song in Israel. And the blossoms on the almond tree, as you can see in the picture, those are one of the first signs of spring in Israel. And so people get really excited when they see the tree blooming. The lyrics of the song are by Yisrael Dushman. And what was really cool in the early 20th century was that there was this whole generation of creators, writers, and musicians who came to Israel from other countries, mostly from Eastern Europe, And with the revitalization of the Hebrew language, they realized there wasn't enough literature for kids. It was really important to get the kids in gear with the Hebrew language from a very early age. And so Yisrael Dushman was one of these pioneers who wrote poems and stories in Hebrew for the young kids, and many of them were set to music. And this gentleman wrote a lot of songs that were connected to nature. So here we are with Hashkedi Porachat. השקדי הפורחת ושמש פזורחת, ציפורים מראש כל גג מבשרות את בוא החג. ט"ו בשבט הגיע חג האילנות, ט"ו בשבט הגיע חג האילנות. Let's try that again from the beginning. השקדי הפורחת ושמש פזורחת, ציפורים בראש כל גג מבשרות את בוא החג. ט"ו בשבט הגיע חג האילנות, ט"ו בשבט הגיע חג האילנות. Now we have a singable English version. This was written by a man named Harry Cooper Smith way back in the 1950s, and the first English verse basically translates the Hebrew. The second English verse celebrates the pioneers' enthusiasm for adapting to the climate of Israel. Many of them came from Europe, Eastern Europe, where there was rain any time of the year, and they had no problems getting water. But in Israel, you have the rainy season in the winter and the dry season in the summer. And these people who came to settle the land and to make the first farms, and from the first modern farms, they had to learn to deal with the climate. And so they learned to do irrigation by taking water from the Jordan River, and we'll sing about that in the second verse. The almond tree is growing, a golden sun is glowing, the birds sing out and joy is glee from every roof and every tree. Tu B'Shvat is here, the Jewish Arbor Day. Hail the trees, New Year, happy holiday. Let's make the land a garden with water from the Jordan, and our land will flow once more with milk and honey as of yore. Tu B'Shvat הגיע חג האילנות, Tu B'Shvat הגיע חג האילנות. Our next song is called Kach Holchim HaShotlim. This is how the planters walk. It's a children's song. And again, it celebrates planting trees on Tu B'Shvat. And the man who wrote the lyrics, again, one of the people who emigrated, this guy came from Ukraine, and he arrived in Palestine, the land of Israel, in 1921. And he actually, before he got involved in music activities, he was actually doing pioneering work. He used to haul sand because they had to clear a lot of sand to make way for enriched soil. So he was doing that sort of work. And then he wrote all kinds of stories and poems and books, and his lyrics were also set to music. And I just want to point out, I know some people may know this song from childhood, and they might know it a little bit differently. We're dealing with folk music here, and there are several definitions of folk music. You have folk music as the music of a people or a country. You have folk music as songs that were passed down from parent to child, generation to generation. In some cases, we don't know who wrote the folk music. It was just something that was kind of existing in a culture. But in almost all of the situations in these particular songs, we do know who wrote them. We have sheet music for them. But even so, some of the songs evolved. There are alternate lyrics. There are alternate versions. So if we sing something that's a little different from what you know, don't panic. Nobody's wrong and nobody's right. We're just kind of trying to sing the most commonly acceptable version of these songs. All right, let's go to the next slide. Let's sing it a little bit higher. כך הולכים השוטרים, רון בלבט בים, מן העיר ומן הכפר, מן העמק מן ההר, בט"ו בשבט, בט"ו בשבט. b'shvat, b'tu b'shvat, b'tu b'shvat. Let's go back and sing that again. Kach holchim hashotrim, ron balevet bayan, bin ha'ir u'min ha'kfar, bin ha'emek min ha'har, b'tu b'shvat, b'tu b'shvat, b'tu b'shvat, b'tu b'shvat. Very nice. Our next song, Eretz Zavat Chalav, Land Flowing with Milk and Honey. The words come from the Bible. The tune was written by a man named Eliyahu Gamliel. Interestingly, though, a few years ago, a filmmaker decided to make a film about the song because what he realized was that many people just thought that this is a song that had been around for ages and ages, and people knew it, but they didn't really know where it came from. And so he started the film by asking Israelis, hey, do you know this song? Well, of course I do. Well, how old is it? And they just, who wrote it? They just thought, oh, it's been around for, centuries, whatever. So it was written by Eliyahu Gamliel in 1952, and he wrote it in his music theory class when he was studying music. And his mentor asked him, hey, I'd like you to write a round or a canon. And so he wrote this, and it became really popular in Israel, and it just took off literally around the world. When after Israel became a state in 1948 and the decade or two following, Americans became really fascinated with Israeli folk tunes, and the American singer Nina Simone actually made a recording of this, and if you look on YouTube you can find it. It's really cool. So the song became really popular. The quote here is land flowing with milk and honey, and actually what I was told is that the honey that they refer to in the Bible is date honey from date trees, so we're still connected to trees here. Gamliel, the man who wrote the lyrics, was a very talented musician. From a young age they discovered his musical talent. He could play the flute really well. He used to cut reeds and make like shepherd's flutes. Like he could make a flute out of almost anything. He also was a very talented dancer and a dance instructor and a choreographer. He was a big naturalist, and every Saturday people would gather at his home and he would take them out for hikes in the wilderness, and he could identify thousands of plants and trees and flowers and all kinds of things in Israel. And he really did us a favor by writing this song, I think. It's just really, really lovely. Alrighty, let's move over to the lyrics. It's a little bit tough to sing. It's either going to be too high or too low for you at some point. So we're just going to try to find a middle ground. Eretz v'chalav, chalav v'dvash, Eretz v'chalav, chalav v'dvash, Eretz v'chalav, chalav v'dvash, Eretz v'chalav, chalav v'dvash, Eretz zavat chalav, zavat chalav v'dvash, Eretz zavat chalav, zavat chalav v'dvash. Back to the beginning. Eretz zavat chalav, chalav v'dvash, 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 Eretz zavat chalav, zavat chalav v'dvash, Eretz zavat chalav, zavat chalav v'dvash. Last time. Eretz zavat chalav, chalav v'dvash, Eretz zavat chalav, chalav v'dvash, Eretz zavat chalav, chalav v'dvash, Eretz zavat chalav, chalav v'dvash. All right, we're moving along to Tzadik Katamar. A righteous person will flourish like a date palm. Here we have those dates again. This is from Psalm 92, and it's a folk tune, and there's a lovely folk dance to this. Waiting for the slide. There we go. Tzadik katamar yifrach, yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach, yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach. Keres balvanon yizke, keres balvanon yizke, keres balvanon yizke, yizke. Keres balvanon yizke, keres balvanon yizke, the beginning. Tzadik katamar yifrach yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach. Keres balvanon yiske, keres balvanon yiske, keres balvanon yiske yiske. Keres balvanon yiske, keres balvanon yiske, keres balvanon yiske yiske. We're moving along to one of our gardening songs. Again, this is a children's song written by Levin Kipnis. Levin Kipnis, you're going to hear his name come up again in a couple of songs from now. Thanks to Mr. Kipnis, we have so many of our Hebrew songs for Jewish holidays. He was just absolutely incredible. Another one of those people who was born in Russia. And by the way, in case you're concerned that I'm talking about all men, there were some women who wrote poetry and who composed songs in this pioneering generation. I do have a couple of songs by women coming along later, but I don't think I have today any of the songs written by the pioneering women, but hopefully in future sessions we'll cover those. And when they started to make recordings of these songs and the records were coming out, interestingly, most of the famous Israeli folk singers were women, so like Shoshana Damari, people like that. So it's kind of cool that a lot of the men did the work. And it's also interesting to me that like these are really talented musicians and they found it worthwhile to invest in children's music. So a lot of the men were doing the writing, but the women were mostly the earliest folk singers. And that sort of shifted around the late 50s, early 60s. All right, so we have a song Ginali. Oh yeah, so Levin Kipnis was born in Russia. Came to Israel. He had like an 80-year writing career. He wrote like, I think 800 poems and published 100 books, and very, very prolific. And again, he saw the need to make songs for children, but really these aren't just kids songs. I mean, these are songs that are associated with the holidays that really everybody knows. So like there's a song Shana Tova that we sing on Rosh Hashanah. He wrote that. Sivivon Sof 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 for Hanukkah. He wrote that one too. Nerli for Hanukkah. He wrote that one. Purim songs, other Hanukkah songs, like almost every, somebody's saying, he lived from the 1890s to the 1990s. Yeah, just incredible guy. And we were so fortunate to have him and his work. All right, so we're getting to the song Ginali, and we have a song about planting. And we have the Hebrew version, and also there's a singable English. Ginali, Ginali, Ginali chaviva, kol tzemach batzomeach, kol perach baporeach. Ginali, Ginali, Ginali chaviva. Let's try singing that in English. I'm planting my garden, the seeds are in my hand. The plants, they will be growing, the flowers will be showing. My garden, all spring will soon be here. Moving along to Eitzeli El Hayar. So this was a Dutch folk melody that someone put Hebrew lyrics to, and this is a round, and many of you probably don't know it, so I'm going to teach the song first. We're going to move to the first slide, and then once we kind of master the song, we're going to be doing a round. Okay, so and this is a song about going to the forest and seeing and hearing the cuckoo. All right, so it goes like this. Eitzeli El Hayar. Try that with me. Eitzeli El Hayar. Good. Lirot et hakukit. Lirot et hakukit. Hey Josh, is there a way for you to sort of point along with the arrow so we can see?
Yeah, we can do that.
Or not really?
It's a little small.
Does that work? Do you see my mouse?
Yeah, I'm thinking though maybe you want to do the transliteration. I don't know how many people read Hebrew.
Oh.
So if you're reading the Hebrew, hopefully you can follow. but I can't even point. It's not my computer. All right. Eitzeli el haya alirot takukit. Everybody. Eitzeli el haya alirot takukit. Same tune. We're going to go to the bottom line in the translit there. Vaya an kol miyar. Let's just do that little piece. Vaya an kol miyar. Good. Henzo yakukit. Henzo yakukit. Let's do that whole bottom line. Vaya an kol miyar. Henzo yakukit. All right, let's do that whole first section there of the song. Eitzeli el hayar lirot et hakukit vaya an kol miyar henzo yakukit. All right, we can move to the next slide and learn the next part. Cuckoo, cuckoo, henzo yakukit. Try that. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Henzo yakukit. The next line starts in a similar tune. Cuckoo, cuckoo, and this part is different. Henzo yakukit. Try that. Henzo yakukit. All right, let's do all those two lines together. Cuckoo, cuckoo, henzo yakukit. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Henzo yakukit. All right, let's go back to the first slide there for that song. Is that key okay for you?
That's a little better, yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're just going to sing through the song together. Eitzeli el haya alirot et hakukit vaya an kol miyar henzo yakukit. Cuckoo, cuckoo, henzo yakukit. Cuckoo, cuckoo, henzo yakukit. All right, go back to the first slide, please, Josh. All right, Julie's gonna start, and you can sing with her, or you can sing with me, but the lyrics are gonna follow what Julie is singing. Ready? And 1, 2, 3.
Eitzeli el haya alirot et hakukit vaya an kol miyar henzo yakukit.
Eitzeli el haya henzo yakukit vaya an kol miyar henzo yakukit.
Eitzeli el haya
Henzo yakukit
vaya an kol miyar
henzo yakukit. Eitzeli el haya alirot yakukit vaya an kol miyar henzo yakukit.
Eitzeli el haya
Henzo yakukit
vaya an kol miyar
henzo yakukit. Let's all sing. Cuckoo, cuckoo, henzo yakukit. Cuckoo, cuckoo, henzo yakukit. Was anyone brave enough to sing with me? And not follow the lyrics? I don't know. Okay. This Cabby does it around. Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, let's move on to Rakefet. No, no, sorry, Adam Avashamayim. Missed the spot here. So this song is really popular. It was originally written in the United States. I can't remember the exact source. I read an article about this a few years ago that disappeared from the internet. So it was originally an American song. It made its way to Israel. It was translated into Hebrew. And in 2005, the first recording of it was released, and it just became incredibly popular. It made its way back to America, where loads of Jewish children and youth really enjoy singing it in youth groups and summer camps, things like this. So we're going to sing it first. In the Hebrew, there's a chorus that goes hey ah ho, and then we'll be singing the singable English version. So let's move on. Adama v'shamayim chom ha'es lilamayim ani markis begufi Beruchi v'nishmati. Let's do the Hebrew again. Adama v'shamayim.
There could be an echo too.
Chom ha'esh
Chom ha'esh.
tzil ha'mayim.
Tzil ha'mayim.
Ani margiso begufi beruchi benishmati. Here's the chorus. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Let's do the chorus again. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. We're gonna sing the singable English. Let's go back. Love the earth,
Love the earth.
love the sky,
Love the sky.
heat of fire,
Heat of fire.
drop of water.
Drop of water.
I can feel it in my body, in my spirit, in my soul. Let's go to the chorus. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Last time. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. I hope you were drumming at home. Alrighty, Rakefet. So that there is a picture of the Rakefet flower. They grow like out of the rocks in Israel, and they're also one of the first signs of spring. Just absolutely gorgeous. And the lyrics to this were written by Levin Kipnis. He went on a visit to Metula, which is a city in the north of Israel, and he went out and he was kind of hiking around the area, and he saw a group of girls and boys sitting around and singing, and he was just so taken by the singing and the nature and everything. And he knew that there was a waterfall nearby, and he asked the kids, did they know where it was? And one of the girls, whose name was Bat Sheva, and she gets a shout out in this song, one of the girls says, oh, I'll take you. And so she took him to the waterfall, and he saw the rakafot, that's the plural for rakefet, growing, and he just thought, like, this is just the most gorgeous thing ever. And so he went home and he wrote a poem, and he borrowed a Yiddish folk melody, and the song in Yiddish is called Margarikalech. I hope I said Margarikalech, I think. I'm not a Yiddishist, I hope I said that correctly. And it's a Yiddish folk song, actually about a daisy, so at least he got the flower thing right. But so this tune might be familiar to you, even if you don't know the Hebrew lyrics, you might have heard it in Yiddish. And it's just a really, really charming song. And again, this is one of those folk things that if you learned this before, it's possible that you might have learned a little bit of a variation on the lyrics. Alrighty. Mitachalatz. I'm going to do a little bit higher. Sorry, folks. There we go. מתחת לסלע צומחת לפלא, רקפת נחמדת מאוד. ושמש מזהרת נושקת עותרת לכתר ורוד. Here's the chorus, it's really easy, and it comes back for all four verses. Lie, 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 lie. Next verse. רקפת, רקפת, ציפור מצפצפת, עציתי אך רגע אליי. רקפת נדרת, בסלע נסתרת, נסתרת מנפש כל חי. Lie, 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 lie. יצא עם הרוח בת שבע לסוח, היה אז הבוקר בהיר. כל צמח, כל פרח, אוספת בדרך, פיח, זמר ושיר. La 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 la. מסלע וגבע יורדת בת שבע, רקפת חינה לחזר. ציפור מצפצפת ורוח לוטפת, וסוף בא לזמר הזה. La 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 la. Is anybody singing in Yiddish? I don't know. Okay. All right. Eretz Yisrael Sheli. This was written by Datia Ben-Dor. She's a more modern composer. She's still alive. She was born in Egypt in 1944, and she came to Israel when she was 1.5 years old. She's a writer, screenwriter, playwright, poet. She wrote a lot for Israeli children's television, and in fact, she wrote some Hebrew songs for the Israeli version of Sesame Street, and also there was a show called Parpar Nechmad, a very popular kids show. She wrote a lot for that. All right, so this song again talks about building and planting, and has a lot of verses. So hopefully by the end of the song, you'll be able to pick it up. And also there are variations on this. So if I don't sing it exactly how you learned it, you're still okay. All right. Eretz Yisrael sheli yafa v'gam porachat. You know, I'm gonna lower the key just a little bit. Thank you. There you go. Eretz Yisrael sheli yafa v'gam porachat, mi bana u'mi natak lanu biyachad. Ani baniתי bית בארץ ישראל, אז יש לנו ארץ ויש לנו בית בארץ ישראל. ארץ ישראל שלי יפה וגם פורחת, מי בנה ומי נתק לנו ביחד. אני נתתי עץ בארץ ישראל, אז יש לנו ארץ ויש לנו בית ויש לנו עץ בארץ ישראל. ארץ ישראל שלי יפה וגם פורחת, מי בנה ומי נתק לנו ביחד. אני סללתי כביש בארץ ישראל, אז יש לנו ארץ ויש לנו בית ויש לנו עץ ויש לנו כביש בארץ ישראל. ארץ ישראל שלי יפה וגם פורחת, מי בנה ומי נתק לנו ביחד. אני בניתי גשר בארץ ישראל, אז יש לנו ארץ ויש לנו בית ויש לנו עץ ויש לנו כביש ויש לנו גשר בארץ ישראל. ארץ ישראל שלי יפה וגם פורחת, מי בנה ומי נתק לנו ביחד. אני חיברתי שיר בארץ ישראל, אז יש לנו ארץ ויש לנו בית ויש לנו עץ ויש לנו כביש ויש לנו גשר ויש לנו שיר על ארץ ישראל. Excuse me, a little bit congested here. I actually don't like the ending that she wrote. I prefer to end it like this. יש לנו שיר על ארץ ישראל. So you can go with the original, or you can pick something that sounds a little bit more tonal. Alrighty, moving right along. Shiro Shel Abba, song of my father's song. This was written by Naomi Shemer. Naomi Shemer, in case you're not familiar with the name, probably one of the most famous Israeli musicians and songwriters. She wrote and composed her own songs. She composed music to lyrics of other people's poetry. She's best known for the song Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, Jerusalem of Gold. This song here, she wrote it for her father, who was a real Israeli pioneer, and her father used to sing songs about the Holy Temple in Jerusalem around the house. And so, in a tribute to her father, she wrote this song, and it kind of describes the pioneering spirit that we'll build together, we'll plan together. And but also she kind of incorporates the theme of the temple and a tribute to her father. And like the point of the song is that kind of no matter how small your actions are, they're significant, and all of our small actions can add up to something great. Alrighty. There we go. אם בהר חצבת אבן להקים בניין חדש, בהר חצבת אבן להקים בניין חדש, לא לשבח כי חצבת לבניין חדש, כי מן האבנים האלו ייבנה המקדש. ייבנה, ייבנה, ייבנה המקדש. ייבנה, ייבנה, ייבנה המקדש. אם בהר נתת ארז ארז במקום דרדר, בהר נתת ארז ארז במקום דרדר, לא לשבח כי נתת במקום דרדר, כי מן האבנים האלו ייבנה ההר. ייבנה, ייבנה, ייבנה ההר. ייבנה, ייבנה, ייבנה ההר. אם לא שרת לי שיר עדיין, שיר לי מזמור חדש, שהוא עתיק ביין ומתוק ומתוק מדבש. שיר שהוא עתיק ביין ומתוק מדבש. שיר שהוא כבן 2000 ובכל יום חדש. ייבנה, ייבנה, ייבנה המקדש. ייבנה, ייבנה, ייבנה המקדש. One more time. ייבנה, ייבנה, ייבנה המקדש. ייבנה, ייבנה, ייבנה המקדש. I'm seeing a lot of comments about how these are dances. Yeah. We just have such a rich culture, and we kind of take it for granted that we have these songs and these dances. But let's just remember that there's this whole generation of people who mindfully and joyfully created this tradition that we all benefit from even today, that they created the music and the literature and the dances and the culture. All right, let's move along. And this is our final song for today, also by Naomi Shemer, Al Kol Eleh. This song, Naomi wrote this to encourage her sister after a family disaster, but the song became an anthem of the Gush Emunim, the religious nationalist social movement, when Israel was evacuating the Sinai Peninsula. So, and it's a very, very lovely song. Do you want to sing this one or not? Okay. Give it a try. Oh, wait a second. Sorry, I'm going to do it in a different key. Sorry. Here you go. Al hadvash ve'al ha'oketz, al hamar ve'hamatov, al vitenu ha'tinoket shmor eli ha'tov. האש המבוערת, על המים הזכים, על האיש השב הביתה מן המרחקים. על כל אלה, על כל אלה, שמור נא לי אלי הטוב, על הדבש ועל העוף. Al hamar
תשכח את התקווה, השיבני ואשובה אל הארץ הטובה. שמואלי הזה הבית, הגן על החומה, ביגון מפחד פתע וממלחמה. שמוע המעט שיש לי על האור ועל הטעם, על הפרי שלו שילון ושנסח. הכל אלה, הכל אלה, שמור נא לי הטוב, על הדבש ועל העוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על נטע כל נטוע, אל תשכח את התקווה, השיבני ואשובה אל הארץ הטובה. באשרי שילן ברוח, ברחוק נושר כוכב, בשאלות ליבי בחושך נרשמות עכשיו. Looking for the next slide. על שמור לי על כל אלה ועל אהובי נפשי, על השקט, על הבכי ועל זה השיר. על כל אלה, על כל אלה, שמור נא לי הטוב, על הדבש ועל העוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על נטע כל נטוע, אל תשכח את התקווה, השיבני ואשובה אל הארץ הטובה.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Josh for hosting this. Thank you for doing the slides. I really appreciate it. And folks, it's tricky with the delay. Josh did a really great job of keeping up. So thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed this.
And a huge, huge thank you to Shirley and to Julie for teaching us so much and putting their heart and soul into this. It was really wonderful. If you enjoyed it, please let us know in the comments in the chat. And I'm also going to be sending out a survey tomorrow to everyone who registered so that you can give us a little bit of feedback as we move forward and do more of these. I hope you had a great time. Once again, as I said at the beginning, we're going to be doing this. We have 2 more scheduled, March 12th and April 16th. Topic to be determined. And finally, as I said at the beginning, that if you had a good time today and you want to support our efforts at Israel Hour Radio, please go to myisraelimusic.com/membership. I want to thank you all. For those in the United States, I hope you enjoy the rest of this Super Bowl Sunday, if that is your thing. And thank you so much for being part of this. We will see you next time. A huge thanks once again to Shirley and to Julie. And as always, Al Tafsiku Lashir. Bye, everybody.